This is Gemara Sanhedrin Daf Samach Gimel. I'm holding on the very bottom of Samach Beis Amid Samach Beis Amid Beis. Excuse me. The last word on the Amid, last word on the Daf is Gufa. As we begin with the Gemara, going deeper into the Brisa, which Rav Ami taught us yesterday. So we turn over to Samach Gimel Amid Aleph and begins the Gemara. Omar Rav Ami. Says Rav Ami, again, we're discussing different practices, different forms of worship, l'avodah zara, and their punishments. Amar Rav Ami zivich v'kiter v'nisech. If someone does any of these acts, slaughtering, burning, pouring a libation to avodah zara, b'elam echad, in one act of forgetfulness, einoi chayiv ela achas. He's chayiv one chatos. Amar Abaye, my time there Ravami. Amar Kra says the Torah lois of them. You should not serve them. Akas of us on kulon avoida achas. The pasuk is referring to them all as one, all the different forms of service as one form of service. Says the Gemara, Miyam Abaye, Hachid is Abaye really holding Amar Abaye sholosh tachavayos. Ba'avodas chavim. Says Abaye, there are three forms of hishtachavayos, three forms of isurim with regard to bowing down by avodah zara. Lama lema. Excuse me. No, let's read that again. Why does the Torah list three different ways? Achas ledarka, v'achas sheloi kedarka, v'achas lechalek. And one is to differentiate between the differences. L'divrei Rav Ami kamar. He's responding. Excuse me, that's the Torah. So what's the kasha? I'm sorry. What's the kasha? Says the Gemara. What do we see? We see the three different things. So we see that Abaye does not agree with Rav Ami. Answers the Gemara that Abaye is l'divrei Rav Ami kamar. However, Abaye himself, he himself does not really concur with that which Rav Ami said. Continues the Gemara, there are three forms of bowing down by avodah zara. Lama, why says Abaye? And one is to differentiate between the different forms. Lechadarka says the Gemara. What about the pasuk? We already have an explicit pasuk that teaches us straight up service of avodah zara. So why do we need another pasuk? Ella rather says Abaye, you're right. Achas lekedarka, v'achas v'shaloi kedarka, v'achas shaloi kedarka, v'achas lechalek. So explains Abaye, one is where kedarka v'shaloi kedarka. It's a middle level. It's a quasi. It's kedarka, but it's not really kedarka. So you have this middle level between the two. Achas. And the other one is going to be what? Is going to be fully shaloi kedarkai v'achas lechalek. Continues the Gemara at the two dots, about 12 lines down. Allah ve'elokah ha'omer loi kiliata. Someone accepts upon themselves as a God and says, kiliata, you are my God. This was the form of worship. What someone says to avodah zara. Omar Rav Nachman Amar Rav Ravu. Says Rav Ravu Amar Rav. Kivin Shamar like Kiliato. Once you said you are my God. Chayiv, he is chayiv. Says Lamai. What exactly does it mean? What does Rav Abba mean? Rav Nachman Amar Rav Ravu mean that he is l'chayiv? If he's chayiv misa masnisani. Ela lekarbon. Rather, it must be teaching us a carbon that he did it b'shoigig. It was inadvertent, and is going to be a chiyuv carbon. Asks the Gemara, v'afilu l'Rabbanon. And is this true? Even according to the Rabbanon, this goes back to that which we saw, that someone who is megadev is not chayiv, that there's no chayiv misa unless there is a maisa. But anything which is not at that level of maisa. Rish Lakish explains, Man Tana Ishachavoyo. Says Rish Lakish, who is the Tana who says that bowing down is included that there will be a chiyav chatos. Who is that? Says the Gemara Akiva. Who holds what? Michlal. What's the inference of Rav Akiva holds loibina ma'isa? Chadrabon tabibina ma'isa. That you need an action. So says the Gemara. So saying to the Avodah Zarah, Keli Ata, you are my God, that is not a ma'isa. So how could there be a chiyuv in this case? Answers the Gemara, Ki Rav Nami. When did Rav say that Keli Ata is a chiyuv chatos? Is the Rabbi Akiva Kamar. He's talking to Rabbi Akiva. The Rabbi Akiva says the Gemara, so what's the chiddush now of Rav Shita? Hainu Megadev, it's the exact same yisaid as Megadev. It's a form of worship, it's a form of kilkul without a mice. Of course, you're chayiv, explains the Gemara. About the tema akan lo mechayiv Rabbi Akiva carbon. Elo b'Megadev. Why? T'chsev beikares, avalach lo ksev beikares. Emalai. Says the Gemara, Kamash Shalom, that indeed there is a chiyuv carbon in such a case. Why? The itkush is kushi. Why? Because we have a hekish. Because saying kiliyata is compared that what? They bow down, so we see these are all forms of service without work, without actions. That's what it's going to be a chiyuv. Amar Rav Yochanan Malei Vav Shebe Haluch. If not for the vav in Haluch Nischayvu Rishayim Shal Yisrael, of course that's even missed it. Kiliyah, they'll be destroyed. Kitanya, as we learned in Abraisa, explains the Gemara. Kitanya, Achirim Mayrim teach Achirim. El Malei Vav Shebe Haluch Nischayvu Sham Shal Yisrael Kiliyah. Amar Lei Rishlak, Amar Lei Rashbi says Rav Shimon Yechayv Aloi. Kol mishatev shen shemayim v'davar acher ne'akar min olam. I don't understand what you mean. Asks the Gemara. If you're mishtatev, if you make partners, if you connect the shem shemayim with davar acher ne'akar min olam shene'amar bilti l'Hashem l'Hashem levadai. Elam atam alayim. What's the meaning? Asher elucha. The meaning is she'ivui eloka is harbe. That the chiddush over here is that they desired many gods, and that's what the pasuk is going to teach us. This is by the Egel Azav, that they did not only worship the golden calf, they not only worship the Egel Azav, but there are other gods together with it. Aval, however, Hamagafev, Hamanashim, Machavim, Merabet, Zechulu, Mishnah continued and said, bracing, kissing, sweeping, sprinkling water, these are not full-fledged forms of serving the idol, and they will not carry the chiyuv misa. Says the Gemara, Ki Asr Avdimi, Amar Avalazar, Al Kulam Laike, Chotz Mehanoider B'Shmai. In all of them there is Malkus, except for vowing, making a neder in the name of Hashem's name, Amakayim B'Shmai. Says the Gemara, why? My Shna, what's the difference? Anoider B'Shmai, Amakayim B'Shmai, Deloy Lucky. Why in those cases particularly is it no Malkus? You know why? Says, well, wait. Anytime you have a general lav, there's no malchus. The Tanya. They didn't have should you eat from an animal before it's dead. Don't eat on the blood. Is similar to Joshua. That's Sanhedrin. He's not allowed to eat anything that whole day. Rish Lakish, once we're on the topic, says the Gemara of Chiyuv Misas Bezdin. Where's Azhara for a Ben Sarah Meir? Tamalayim lo sachlu aladam. V'amar Rav Avin, Amar Rav Chiya, V'yitem Rav Avin Bar Kahana. Al kula amina like mishum da havli lav shebechlalois. It's a general lav, so there's no malchus. Al kiyas Rav and Rav Laza al kulan einay like chutz min anoyde b'shmai v'makayim b'shmai. Mai shna hanach du alaki davli lav shebechlalois. Hanami lav shein by mais. And he says in Gemara, these are both cases that are excluded from the regular chiyuv and malchus, whether it's lav shel b'kolos, whether it's lav she'ein by ma'isa. Nenu. Answers Gemara, who could have you the damar lav she'ein by ma'isa, like in a lav, that a lav that an action is malchus, the tani losurim menu ad boker ba kasli tanaseh achar loisa say the pasuk is coming to add on an extra aseh after ready is a loisa say loimar to teach us on the top of some gimel or she'ein like in love Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says that is what the Torah is coming to do. To teach us, the Torah is coming to teach us is extra din that there's no malchus. However, Rabbi Yaakov Aimer in the second line, Loimin Hashem Muzeh, Elam Yishon Navli Lav Shein by Maisa, V'chol Lav Shein by Maisa Ein like in a love. B'chlal Rabbi Yehuda Savar. Yes, like in love. So to boil down to fundamental machlekes, is there malchus for a lav she'ein by ma'isa? And with that we continue 5 lines down. If someone vows the name of Hashem, swears in his name, it is a loisase. Ask the Gemara, if someone makes a neder, or if someone mekayim in null, and where do we see this loisase? The Tanya of Hashem Elikim, Acheir Mishnah mention the name of other gods, loisaskiru. One should not say meet me, wait for me next to an idol, or someone who convinces someone to serve an idol. That what? So what's the fact that we don't want to cause to others? And that didn't be a raya. What? Asar li adam she has a shotvas ma'akom. Why? And then and that's why one should never have a shutves with a guy. In a similar vein, says Gemara, Kiyasu Ula Bas Bekalna. He spent the night in a place called Kalna. Excuse me. Basmar, where did he go? Amarle Bekalna. Amarle, I have a Kseva Shemelikim Loi says Kiru. Should I mention other gods? And Kalna is the name of an idol. Amarle, Achem Rabbi Yechon, the last narrow line. This Rabbi Yechon said, Call Avodas Chav Maksuv B'Torah Mutal Ask your Shema. Any of the Zohar that's mentioned in Torah, you're allowed to say its name. V'Hacha Ksiva. Says, where do you find Kalna? V'Itachsev Kara Baal Karam Baal Kairem Nivai. Says wait, if you like Ksiva, but it's not in the Torah, lie. But Masra Mishar Shira Achas Meruba Kishalish She Kim. If someone saw a one admission as long as 3 admissions, so about a zav, it's a discharge from the male that lasted the amount of time for 3 admissions, which is the amount of time of traveling from Gadion to Shilai, which is the amount of time for 2 times to go to the mikvah, 2 times for drying off. Then the halacha is such a one admission, but in such a prolonged period of time, says the Gemara, Harei zeh zav gamor, that makes the person into a full-fledged zav. So what's the kasha? Kasha is Gad Yoin, it's the name of a desara. So how did the Mishnah mention it? Says the Gemara, Ravina. Says Ravina, Gad denami michtav ksivi. God as well, it says, the chsev ha'arkin legad. Shulchan. So seemingly the Gemara is asking then as much that Gad Yoin is a name of a desara, but it comes from the name God, and God is referring back to Hashem, so therefore there would be no problem. Omar Rav Nachman, taking a little bit of a left turn, says the Gemara, 5 lines into the wide lines. Says Rav Nachman, Kol Leitzanusa, any Leitsanus, says Rav Nachman, Asira, chutz meleitzanus avodas chavim. Leitzanos, says Rav Nachman, is forbidden, except for what form of leitzanos? Leitzanos of avodah zara disharya. Dechsev says the pasuk, Kara bel kairim nevai. Baal squats, the vice splashes, Karsai karu yachtav lo yachlu malet masa. And another pasuk says, Dibru la'agalois bayis, Dibru la'agalois beis oven yagurish chan shamran ki achal alav amai ukhmarav alav yagilu akvodi ki golim menu al degree kavaydai ela kavaydai, the burden. So we see that there are times that one could indeed talk such a way. So says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yitzchak, and with this we're going to wrap it up. We're about 10 lines into the wide lines. The first one line is Ela Kevedai. Says Rav Yitzchak, Ma'idach Sev, what is the meaning of the pasuk? Va'atu Yisivu Lachatai, now they continue to sin. V'yasle Masicham, they made themselves figures, Mechaspam, of silver, Ketvuna Atzavim, the shapes of idols. My Ketvuna Atzavim, what does that mean? Malamich Kolach Zachas Asa Demos, Yerasai. Everyone made the demos of his God, and Mechal up in his pocket. Whenever you remember it, what would he do? We take this idol out of his pocket, and he would embrace it and kiss it. Says Gemara, what is the pasuk? Ma'asev Chadim Akol Yishkon Am Rav Yitzchak Devei Reb Ami Shem Mishar say Avodas Chavim Noistin Einayim Bibale Mamoin. Those who would worship the idol, the attendants would set their eyes on people with a lot of money. Even as Agalim, they would starve the calves. Make images of the wealthy people, and place it next to the calves' troughs. So when the cows ate, they would see those faces, and then they would take the cows out, and they would be attracted to those wealthy people. And when they saw the cows running after the wealthy people and being mishamish them, they would say to them, the idol desires you. Come and allow yourself to be slaughtered. And then they would go and they would confiscate their possessions. Of course, these are difficult things in our world to understand, how the people ran after such a story. It sounds so silly, but of course, that's all of it is Zara. It's really everything that when you're wrapped up, it's so difficult. But when not, you are, it is silly. Amar Rava. And with this we conclude. Says the pasuk words are wrong. It's just the calves kiss to the slaughtered person. We tell him a great gift. Hikriv la yava v'yashik la, come and kiss it. Obviously a practice that no one should do. We'll pick it up from here. B'siyata dishmaya.